Hello everybody, I'm Ook Park, as you know, and you might not know this, but I'm desperate for money. And so I'm going to try to sell my paintings in front of all of you guys, since the chance was given when I heard about this free-for-all presentational speech. I said, oh, what a great chance to try to sell my paintings. So I'm going to show you some three of my paintings and tell you the specifications of them and introduce you to their themes. And so you'd be interested in my paintings and ultimately buy them for hundreds of dollars. Now, the first painting is, I can't even see. Let me. Okay, this is called The Dog, and I'll try to explain this painting. It's I think it's 9 by 11. It's painted on prime plywood, and I use some markers and oil painting. And this is what I usually feel like in social situations, and I'll try to explain it. And this is right here is my pure thoughts, my brain. And this is my limited methods of communication. So whatever I have in my thoughts are kind of filtered through by the limitations of my speech knowledge and so on. So it comes out garbage sometimes. And whatever I communicate, it adds up to make some kind of a character. And that character adds up to make like a social persona that is way different from what I originally have. And I want to compare this to the novel of Metamorphosis by Kafka, where this man wakes up as a cockroach, and he still thinks like a man, but everyone sees him as a cockroach. So he's very confused, and his identity is at crisis. That's sometimes how I feel, because the social persona that is created by my miscommunications is just rising, like raining over me sometimes. I want to call this process reverse Copernicus. I don't know if you guys know, but Immanuel Kant came up with this idea of Copernican revolution. I'll try to explain it simply. We have this brain, and we perceive all the information from the world, but our brain is limited, so all the information given from the real world is kind of built more simplified within our brain. So it's like there's UV light, there's like neutrinos and like atoms and so on around this room, but we don't detect it, so we don't know. We just perceive this as desk or podium and so on. So that kind of makes your world view limited. But I think how I communicate is kind of reverse of that. I have all these, what I think is pretty cool ideas, pretty amazing ideas and whatever. But my devices of speech is so limited that it just comes out not that good. And it makes me frustrated a lot of times, but painting something like this to represent my emotions have some therapeutic effects. Next painting, one for $75, is called The Media Influences, and I'll try to explain this too. Jim Morrison and Peter Jennings once said kind of a similar thing, that whoever controls media controls the mind and reality, and that's certainly true for me. I mean, whatever documentary I see, whatever books I read, it changes my perspective little by little, until it just like strips me away completely from whatever cognitive independence I had. And this is represented in this painting. It's watercolor. This is the media world is actually like sucked into his back side, and through all these wires, these like cords are actually like penetrated into the brain, and all the information just jamming into the brain, like so. And that's what's happening to me. I mean, everything I see, it just changes my mood, changes my whatever can emotionally kind of persuade me. I just get persuaded into it. I'm a very emotional person. I just follow whatever people say that is like that I can emotionally attach to. W.H. Auden, American poet or English poet, I don't remember now. Once said that media should be taken like drugs. No, taken like food, actually, not drugs. It should be eaten and be abandoned and forgotten after a meal. But it's like whatever the food I eat, it just remains in me like saturated fat and never goes away. It just makes me a different person every time I eat it. So, next painting. Oh, how did that get there? Wait, I only have 2 paintings. I was supposed to have 4 paintings, but it was called Death. And you don't get to see it now. Well, it was like cut, like a cow head cut in half. I saw this scene from Faces of Death, and there was this cow being skinned alive, and this cow was still alive, still pulsating, still breathing, and I really got moved by that, because even though that cow is in the worst situation possible, was still embracing its life. So I was moved by that. I was inspired to paint that, and that painting was the most expensive one. Maltese. I'm very sorry and disappointed in myself that I didn't show you this. To conclude, well, that'll be all. I hope you enjoyed my paintings, and well, you might have noticed that all the paintings are about my perception and my views, but I have an excuse. I'm only a young painter. I only discovered myself, not anything others. As I mature into becoming more mature painter, I hope that I could say something about the world, say something about other issues. And thank you very much.
I'm impressed with that. I just learned about fingerprint. I need lotion really bad. I'm gonna try.
All right, Ook, I like the opening and the humorous references selling the paintings. Your thesis is pretty clear, and you set up your goal for us. I like the content. Your explanations of your own work are fine, and I like some of the comparative things that you talk about, and you make it interesting. The pictures, I know you have to have the lights out so that we can see the pictures completely. That affects a little bit our ability to relate to you while you're speaking, and it may take you out of the attempt to relate to the audience as well. On the vocal issues, I think you're in very solid shape. You project pretty well. We can hear you most of the time. There's good energy when you're talking. I don't notice any particular problems, and it's usually pretty fluent. But the visual factors, there are a couple of issues. You are turned sideways most of the time. Frequently you are talking to the screen. Your eye contact tends to be downcast to the front of the room. Once in a while you look up, but not very frequently. You are distracted by the visuals, and I understand that you want us to see certain kinds of things, but you have a tendency to turn toward them and speak toward them. That big page in your hand, you rarely need to use it, so why do you keep it in your hand? It becomes a distraction while you're speaking. It's a little awkward on that third point when the picture isn't there. That's a little disappointing. And I think your exit could be a little bit stronger. Thank you.